Hey y'all, so today I am sharing with you all one of my favorite keto soups, and it is a pumpkin sausage soup. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to grab an onion. I'm just using a white onion here, and you're going to use about a third of an onion, third of a cup of finely diced onion, more or less depending on what you prefer. So you're going to toss these into a skillet that's like a medium heat, medium low, and we're going to drizzle in some olive oil or whatever fat you prefer, and just toss those onions in, and we're just going to let those sweat for a little bit, soften up, and after a couple minutes we will add in some minced garlic. If you have fresh garlic on hand, that would be perfect, but I am going to quick route and just using some minced garlic out of a jar. So I'm going to be adding about a tablespoon, more or less, to this. I love garlic, so if you want to add a little more or add a little less, that's up to you. So just stir that garlic in for about 30 seconds, and then we're going to add in our sausage. So I'm going to be using breakfast sausage, and this is my favorite brand. It's a local brand. I prefer breakfast sausage over Italian sausage. I just do not like the texture of Italian sausage, but if you prefer Italian, you can use that also. Either one works fine. And if you prefer a little more of a kick, a little spicier soup, you can also use the hot versions of breakfast or Italian sausage. That works great too, and sometimes I do switch it out for that. So I'm just going to break down my sausage. You want to get it nice and crumbled, so I just whipped out my little masher tool. So once you get the sausage all browned up, nice and crumbled, we are going to add in our tomatoes. You can use fresh tomatoes, canned tomatoes. I'm using some lightly crushed tomatoes, so it does have a little bit of diced tomatoes mixed in. But if you want to, if all you have is just diced tomatoes on hand, or fresh tomatoes, or crushed tomatoes, you could probably even use tomato sauce. I haven't tried it, but I don't see why it won't work. So you're going to add those in, and you're going to just let those cook out for a minute or two. And once that's been cooking for a couple of minutes, we're going to add in spinach so it can start wilting down, because this soup really doesn't take too long to come together. It's not a soup that you necessarily need to simmer for a few hours. So it's a pretty quick soup to make when you're just craving, a warm bowl of soup on a cold day. So just stir in that spinach, and then I am going to go ahead and add in my rice. So I usually use cauliflower rice or palmini rice. You can totally leave this out. It is optional, but I like the extra texture in my soup. You could also use cauliflower florets if you want to, or if there's another vegetable. If you're not looking to make this necessarily keto, you can add some white beans. That would be great. But I like to go ahead and add the cauliflower palmini rice in the beginning, so that it can start to soak up some of the flavor. Now, once you've added that in, you will go ahead and add in your pumpkin puree, and this needs to be the 100% pumpkin, not the pumpkin pie mix. So just go ahead and stir that in and let everything cook together for just a minute or two to sort of infuse the flavors and sort of to draw out any extra moisture in that pumpkin. And then we will go ahead and add 2 cups of chicken broth. If you prefer vegetable broth, you could go ahead and add that in too. I've not tried it with beef broth, but I'm assuming it would be just as good. So once you add that broth in, you'll just want to stir everything together. Since the tomatoes and the pumpkin may have dried out a little bit, you just want to mix everything really well to make sure there's no chunks that aren't mixed in. And once we get that mixed in, we are going to add in our seasonings and spices. So I'm going to be adding in some dried oregano, some pepper, some crushed red pepper, a little bit of salt. You'll want to taste it. Depending on your broth, it may be a little salty already. And then we're going to add some garam masala. And I really think this brings out the flavor of the pumpkin with all those warm spices that are in garam masala. So just go ahead and give that a nice stir. We want to let it cook for about 5 minutes to bring all the flavors together. Then after it's been cooking, you will want to go ahead and add in your cream. Now I am going to be using coconut milk, but you could also use heavy cream. I prefer coconut milk only because the coconut milk I use has half as many carbs and half as many calories as heavy cream. But it's delicious whether you're using coconut milk or heavy cream. Just use whichever is your preference. So after adding in the heavy cream, we're just going to add in 1 to 2 tablespoons of just some basic Parmesan cheese, nothing fancy. But if you do happen to have a Parmesan rind from a block of fresh Parmesan, you could add that in the beginning so that that Parmesan flavor is getting infused into the soup the whole time you're cooking it. And that is pretty much it. It's ready to serve, you guys. So you'll just want to cook it until your veggies that you decide to use and till the spinach is, wilted to how you like. And then you can ladle it up. And I like to serve mine with some moon cheese or crisps, or like I am here, just some good old pork rinds. So I hope you guys try this recipe out, and I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.